Peace, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to part three of Dope Dads Need Dope Dads. Who's that? Mother's Keeper Doula. Hey. Just waiting for more people to come and um, my boy Cobb to come. Oh, okay.
We live, we live, we live.
Peace,
There we go.
peace, peace,
There
peace,
we go.
Kyle.
We in this. We in this.
Oh. How you
How
doing?
you?
Good.
Good, good,
You
good.
loud.
I'm loud? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me turn it down a little bit. Let me turn
Peace,
it down a little bit.
Maggie. I'm seeing people coming in the
A
live.
little better? That sound a little better?
Yeah, that's
Sound
better.
a little better?
How you
Okay, all
doing?
right, cool, cool. We made it here safely. You know what I mean? We
And what's here? What's here? What you mean?
here is we somewhere in between like Cape May and like uh whatever the next city over. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So today it's actually our first time like kind of like moving around as a
Mm-hmm.
family like outside of the city.
Right.
Uh, like an actual day. So it's like the beach or whatever. But we've got a friend who's got a beach house, so you know
Oh,
we yeah.
okay. And no
It's,
invite, you
it's,
see? This is why I'm
ah!
hating. This is why I'm
See, we
hating.
need, but
Because
see,
I
that's the
watched
thing. We got
Roberta's
we got to
post,
do like
and y'all be
we got
having neighbors and stuff talking about y'all
we
COVID,
got to
COVID,
do
COVID.
we got
Hmm?
we got to do we got to do something as a family. You know what I mean? Just
Okay.
exclusively family. You know what I mean? I
I
see how
get
you
it.
move.
I get it.
I see how you move around with baby girl. Y'all be out. We don't get the invites. Y'all be,
Where
you
we
know what I
out?
mean?
We
Y'all
trapped
be
in
out. Yeah.
we trapped in the eye of the storm in Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I
Right.
know. I know. Well, I know you had to go up there for, you know what I
Right.
mean,
And
for
now
dad or
I'm a
whatever. So
resident again.
yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. So wait, is wifey gonna do a cameo? Or is she gonna come through
So she
or
gonna make the cameo because so we got the two girls and the two girls need to get busy, need
okay.
to be busied. You
Be
know what I mean? So she'll
occupied.
make a cameo towards the yeah. So she'll
Okay.
make a cameo towards the end probably.
All right.
Um,
Well,
hopefully 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 I don't mess up and then she come and cancel out everything that I said. Like, nah, he a terrible
right,
dad. What
right,
he tell y'all? What he lie to y'all about? So
right. Well, introduce yourself to to the
yes.
people.
So my name is Kabana Frimpong. I am the creative director and owner of Green District Media, which is a film video production company based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay. How old are
Yes, yes.
you?
That was one of the questions. I know you said, like, is there any other questions you gonna have? I'm 41. I'm
Uh,
41. I
You
just
don't look
turned.
41. We all know black don't crack, so
I know. That's
unless
what I'm
we on
saying. You,
crack, so you fine.
you
You
making
know?
me say it. That was like the whole. You know what I mean? I was playing it up. Like people be like, oh, you what are you about 32, 30? I'm like, yeah, I'm 32. You know what I mean? So now
And
you
then
making me spill the beans. You making me tell the truth on
well,
here,
well, and that's why they love us. That's all I'm
man.
gonna say. And how old are your children?
So I have a 6-year-old daughter, Selah, and I have a 2-year-old daughter, Ashe, and happily married for the last 7 years to my wonderful wife, Roberta Frimpong. Yes, yes,
Many
yes.
people
All
can't even say
praise due.
that. Yes. Some people
Yeah,
can't even
all
say seven
praise due.
years. Okay.
Well, we've been
All
together
right.
a total of 10. So we've been together a total of 10. We were 3 years together, and then we decided to get married, and it was the best decision that I made.
You hear that, fellas? That's the
Hmm.
best decision that you made. Okay. So, so when were you introduced to fatherhood?
So I was introduced to fatherhood with my 6-year-old daughter. January 25th of 2014 was when I actually, it's amazing because I actually had the privilege of catching her. So
Wow.
we chose to do a birthing center
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to, the conventional like hospital route or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another really, really good decision, that my wife kind of, she was more so the deciding factor in that. But I was fortunate enough to actually be the first like to touch my daughter when she came out, and
Mm-hmm.
it was overwhelming. So the experience, and I share this story. I haven't shared it with a lot of people. So it was a birthing center. So the birthing center is more of like a, the particular one we chose was more of like a home setting.
Mm-hmm.
So, they had rooms set up where they had the, midwives, the doulas, different people in there. So, when I was catching them, when my daughter was coming out, I was holding her and I was just, overwhelmed by the moment. I
Mm-hmm.
started praising God. I started basically had a praise and worship like session, like right there, like tears
Mm-hmm.
flowing, screaming hallelujah. Like I'm talking about like super loud. Like the facilitator actually had to come in and be like, she came in, she was like, we understand, we know that that you're excited and we know that you're happy, but you are disturbing like the other the other families that are here. And I mean, I still, it was like a couple more minutes. It was still like another, maybe like another 15 minutes where I just had to get my praise on real quick,
Right.
like
Right.
totally
That's
disregard
life.
what she said. Yeah, that's life. I'm like, yo, it's my first time being a father. Like, you're gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, but I'm gonna give some glory to God real quick. And
Mm.
it was funny. I laugh about it now, but it was an overwhelming moment. And I just wanted to kind of be in that moment.
Mm.
Really, I didn't want to look back at it and regret like anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So,
then how was your second child's birth?
so the second childbirth, this was funny. This was actually very funny because I was very, very comfortable at the birthing center that we had our first daughter at. So I was
Mm-hmm.
telling like Roberta, I was like, yeah, let's go that route again. God forbid anything kind of like happens or whatever. We've got like a team around us. But Roberta felt very, very comfortable and confident that we should do like a home birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was nervous about that,
Mm.
because I felt like, I would have to show them more of the responsibilities. Obviously, we were still talking about trying to have somebody um, present to walk us and help us and so forth. But um, I was an advocate for going back to the birthing center again,
Mm-hmm.
and that was our birthing plan to go back to the birthing center again. Um, Roberta wakes up, I don't know, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning or something, and was like, she's coming, she's coming. We figured out, we knew there was going to be another girl. She was like, she's coming, or no, I'm sorry, no, she didn't say she's coming. She was like, okay, come on, babe, it's time or whatever, right? So we start to make our way, get her ready, so forth and so on. Get Roberta ready, start to get myself ready. Roberta darts. So we have a master bathroom. She darts into the master bathroom first, because I think she said she had to use the restroom. Then she runs out of the master bathroom into the main bathroom and was like, she's coming. And I'm looking and I see the baby, like the crowning. I guess that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, so at first I was kind of upset, like, yo, you straight held this baby to have this home birth that you wanted. Like, and then I was just like, all right, I can't be upset too long. So
Mm-hmm.
we ultimately wind up having, our second daughter in the bathtub in our house.
Oh
Her
wow.
mother, yeah, her mother is, she has like care, um, like personal care. Like that's what she does. That's her profession. But she never delivered a baby before. It's more just kind
Right,
of like
right.
geriatric and, that type of care or whatever. But, like I think we called 911 maybe. And, they walked her through it. She was calm. She was, so she actually delivered like my daughter essentially. And then, we get into the ambulance and we go to the hospital. They tried to keep us
Right,
like longer. And
right, right. So
yeah,
you
it was
had a
like,
unassisted home birth.
pretty much, pretty
You
much.
had an
I can't even, look, I'm not gonna play hero at all. I was downstairs pacing, going crazy. At this time, Selah was 5. I'm like trying to keep her calm and like, you know, she wants to go see, like she's like excited. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You're not supposed to have, as far as the way my mind processes, you're not supposed
Right,
to have
right.
babies at home without anybody who 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 delivers babies. Like, so, my heart's like going crazy and like my mind,
Hmm.
everything. So I'm all over the place.
Right.
Um, that was all Roberta, her mom, and God. You know what I mean? That delivered that baby. I can't. I'm not gonna make myself the hero of this story
She didn't
because,
even tell me that
I
story.
was, yeah, yeah. I'm surprised she didn't tell you that story. I
I
don't
know,
know.
man.
Maybe she don't. Maybe she don't want to make herself the hero of it of her stories either. I don't know, but yeah,
Right,
it was
right,
all
right, right.
her mom, and God kind of took care of that. And I was, like I said, I
Wow,
was just like a witness, and you know,
that's amazing.
oh, off somewhere trying to stay sane. That's what I was doing.
Right. So,
Yeah.
in light of that, what do you think are the essentials of being a
Mm.
father?
Um. So, I mean, there's a few. I'll probably just kind of say what I deem the most important. I feel like it's patience. Patience,
Mm,
I would say, is probably the most important. Patience with, so I'm blessed with daughters. So patience with my daughters, right?
mm-hmm,
But probably more importantly, patience with myself.
mm,
Uh, Being new to the role, and some of the things that black men we kind of tend to try and shoulder. We put a lot of unnecessary pressure on ourselves,
right.
to be successful, almost like right out the gate, at different things, professionally, personally, whatever. Um, it was important for me to have patience with myself, you
Right,
know,
right.
and realize, I'm doing the best that I can. Obviously, it's still very, very scary though to know
Mm-hmm,
that somebody's life is in your hands, and the decisions
mm-hmm.
that you make, the decisions that you make might not necessarily manifest themselves right now, but you know 16 years old, that teenager that you now, that teenage girl that you're dealing with, it might have been something that you might have done, or a mistake or a misstep that you might have made, when you were younger, or when she was younger rather. So, patience is probably the most important, um, thing to me, as far as like a tool that I feel like, successful fathers need to have. And like I said, patience with with your children, and then patience with yourself. You know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good question to go into. What has been your most difficult areas in
Mm,
having daughters?
mm. So I think depending on when people ask me that question, they get a different response each time, right? So I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you like the biggest thing that's kind of pressing on me right now, um, is finding this balance between, like, obviously I want to discipline my daughter. I want to discipline my children. You know what I mean? In my particular case, I have daughters. I want to discipline my daughter, right? But I also don't want to squash whatever passion, fire, whatever amazing thing that my daughter is going to do, is going to offer the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to squash that because it might not necessarily make sense to me. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like I'm trying to find that balance where it's like, okay, especially Selah. You know what I mean? Selah is
She's a
fiery, she's
firecracker.
passionate, she's a firecracker, she's got a lot of energy. So it's
My
like,
girl.
yeah, I try to navigate that with her specifically. Obviously, what you call me is still kind of young, I say. So her character or who she is hasn't start to come out just yet. But Selah, I see her. She's very, very passionate. Um, she's very, very driven. Um, she's hyperactive. She has a lot of energy, right? So I have to be mindful of the things that you know that I say to her, that I do with her, because like I said, I honestly do believe that she has something amazing that she's going to offer the world.
Hmm.
So who am I to stifle that or say, you know, oh baby girl, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like that's basically me kind of like putting my fears on my daughter.
Mm.
Like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, this is don't do that, baby girl. Like, no. You know what I mean? And I have to find that balance, right? Of like
Hmm.
that's my fears, like I said, kind of like, manifesting itself. Like, no, you shouldn't do that because, whatever happened in my life, this is how the end result is. But that might be exactly what you need, you know what I mean?
Right,
To
right,
make you
right.
who you are, to make you amazing. You know what I mean? So I would say that's like I said, that's the season that I'm in right now, is trying to find that balance with I want to discipline my daughters, but I
Hmm.
also don't want to make sure that I'm not stifling them or I'm suppressing or restricting them from that amazing thing that they're going to offer to the world,
Right,
and it's
right.
it's difficult. I mean, it's something that that in real time I have to be conscious about. Like, okay, she's doing this thing. Is it just a nuisance to me? Because if it's just a nuisance to me, that's whatever. I can get over that. But
Right.
if it's something that's like, oh, okay, baby girl, don't run out like we're on the beach, right? All right, babe. All right, baby girl, don't go out too far because I don't want the currents to take you away. Okay, now that's something that obviously that's
Right,
something that
right.
that I. So I think that's typically like the litmus test for me is like, okay, is this thing like a danger. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Is what she
Hmm.
doing like a danger or a detriment to herself,
Or her well-being.
as
Hmm.
opposed to it to her well-being, as opposed to just more of like she's just annoying me right now. Because if
Hmm.
it's just annoying me, but it's something that that I feel like could potentially be beneficial to her,
Right.
um, I won't be as likely to kind of like shut it down. But it's difficult. That's something, like I said, that's what I'm dealing with, right now, currently.
Okay.
In a couple months from now, it might be a different thing that I might
Right.
say that I'm finding very difficult.
Okay. And so what is something that you may be fearful futuristically?
Hmm.
Mm.
I mean, I guess to probably I don't I don't want to I want to have daughters who are strong and opinionated and not scared of anything, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to dream big, and I want them to know that they can do it,
Right.
um, at the risk of threatening like whatever existing like uh, patriarchal systems that are out there. And, you know, um, it's interesting. I wanted to have this conversation with his sister about. I mean, we can get into it maybe a little bit now, but maybe me and you can have a conversation later. But
Mm.
like when No Name like responded to like J. Cole and
Mm.
like how
Mhm.
quick she did it and how hard. I'm first of all, I'm a Mad Lib is like my favorite producer. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like the beat was like dumb and she was strong with like her response.
I
You know what I
didn't
mean?
listen to
I
it
think
yet,
she's just
so definitely
you
after
ain't
this,
listen
I'm
to it?
gonna have to. No, not yet.
Oh
No.
yeah, you got. You got to listen to J. Cole's and then listen to No Name's response. But yeah, and I'm not going to say that I was super familiar with her, but it did make me kind of go back and like listen to more of her catalog, and I'm just like, wow, she's amazing. like her power. She's harnessed her power. She understands like her femininity. She understands
Hmm.
like who she is as far as like musically and activism, and she's just like amazing to me. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I had to go back to kind of like appreciate her, and you know it was just interesting to me to try and create, to know that I can have a hand in raising a strong woman. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
Um,
right.
and I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing, and I'm excited about it. You know, I'm excited about it.
So, how do you feel that you display the act of professing, providing, and protecting to your partner and children? So that's professing, providing, and protecting.
Say that. Ask the question one more time. I'm sorry.
How do you display the acts of professing, providing, and protecting to your partner and children?
Hmm. Wow.
That.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there. Um, I mean, I'm a big believer in, you know, obviously deed. You know what I mean? Like I remember one of the conversations I had with Roberta. We hadn't had children yet. I don't even think we were married yet, but I was asking her, you know, what if your daughter or your son comes to you and wants to know what love is? And she told me, she was like, yeah, it's what me and your father have for each other. You know what I mean? Which to me was like weighty, because to me it almost made the assumption that her and her father were like together. But then it also made the assumption that she was living that out. You know what I mean? So I think, excuse me, I think when I think of, professing, that's the easy part. Just to say, yeah, I always got your back. I love you. But to actually show it on a daily basis, like there's
Mm-hmm.
things that Selah has said to me where I saw her, I didn't see her paying, I didn't think she was paying attention to me, but she
Right.
was paying attention to me.
They always
And
are.
then she brought it, yeah, they always paying attention. She's always looking, you know what I mean? Um, so she's always looking at the way that I talk to her mom, the way that I deal with her mom, you know what I mean? Um, the way I deal with others, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so interesting. Like she's quote unquote come to Roberta's rescue sometimes if she felt like she didn't, if Selah didn't feel like the tone in which I was talking to Roberta was good. Selah would come to Roberta's rescue and tell me, Daddy, like that's her thing. She'll tell me, Daddy, stop, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, and then protecting. So it's professing, protecting. What were the three again?
Professing, providing, and
What were the
protecting.
three?
Professing,
Professing
providing,
and protecting. I mean, and then
and providing.
providing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a heavy one. Providing is the one that I think I can get into a lot of trouble, um,
Hmm.
because I feel like I can. And I told Roberta this. I was like, I'm somebody, or I saw it within myself, the ability, or I saw within myself that I could potentially miss out on a lot of things for the sake of providing for my family. Meaning, oh yeah,
Mm.
babe, I got to go here this weekend and do that. I got to go over here and go to this event, and I got to do that and do all that for the sake of, okay, I'm just trying to bring home a bag to my family. You know what I mean?
Right.
And really
Right.
miss out on what it is to be like to be a father, to be a good
Mm-hmm.
husband, to be a good
Mm-hmm.
father, to be a good husband.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very, very, providing is like a slippery slope for me.
Mm.
That's the space that I need to probably give the most attention, so that I don't kind of fall into providing so much that I look up and next thing I know, my daughter is 13 years old. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, we have such and such and so forth, but I don't have that relationship with her. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm. Mhm.
um,
Hmm.
yeah. Um, and then lastly, protecting. Um,
You got that 9? It's a joke.
yeah,
It's a joke.
I do have my. But that's the easy stuff. That the easy stuff is like that physical, like yeah, you know what I mean, like any type of situation. This Roberta tell you like she remembers like one time when, something happened and and I think some of that was ego though, like you're gonna disrespect my woman, you know who I am, type of, you know what I mean, that type of thing.
Right.
But that's the easy stuff. I think about protecting like her wellness, right? So her
Mm.
spiritual wellness, her emotional
Mm.
wellness. You know what I mean? That's like the difficult stuff because that's stuff where I think you as men we have to kind of like evolve and our emotional intellect has to be, you know, raised a little bit so that we're able to communicate, how we're feeling and be able to be of service to them. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Right.
take it for granted and I don't think it's a mistake that God blessed me with women. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think God knew what he was doing and giving me a wife and giving me daughters. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
um
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's more so the space that I try to do to protect it in, protecting
Right.
their wellness, spiritual,
Mm.
emotional, mental. You know what I mean?
Okay. So what is beards and barrettes? What is the goal and vision of that?
So Beards and Barrettes is a video, like a vlog, where I talk to different fathers, right, from
Mhm.
different professional backgrounds, um, and their relationships with their daughters. I
Mhm.
just feel like there's so many stories inside of that relationship. I have one of the episodes that I did was my barber, and we just, we always talk like that whenever he was cutting my hair. And I decided to do it where it was we actually recorded like one of the episodes because he has a at the time um, she was 22 or 23 maybe, and then
Mhm.
he had like a 4-year old. So
Mm.
I was like, oh, you got like a baby, a toddler. I mean, a young daughter, and then like an old daughter, and then he just kind of like, we had conversations about that. Um, I'm slated to do like another one with a father who actually does production, like music production for his daughter. He actually produces like music for his
Mm.
daughter, which is like another interesting dynamic because now his daughter is like essentially like a woman. You know what I mean? So when she's creating, she's in that creative space. She might be talking about some things that are just like more
Right.
mature,
Right.
but to do it with your dad as the executive producer, it's like that's kind of like interesting as well too.
Right.
Um, it was another gentleman who I had the privilege of sitting down with who he's like I don't know what his exact title is, but an entrepreneur, and he's got businesses set up in his daughter's names. You know what I mean? As it relates
Mm.
to like legacy. So he was big on that. Like, what I'm doing is like a legacy move. It's like a legacy play type of situation.
Right. Right. Right.
So the vision for it was essentially to because as fatherhood, as it relates to daughters, is kind of like almost like a trial by fire type of thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or just
Mhm.
parenthood, just in general.
Right.
Fatherhood, just in general, is like a trial by fire. It's like here you go, here go
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
I remember when we left the birthing center with my daughter with Selah. I was just like, so that's it.
Oh,
Like
right.
nobody gonna give me no instruction manual, nothing. It's
Listen,
just like
that's
here
how
you
I felt
go.
as a single parent when I got home. I was like, well, wait, what? I got a whole
Yeah,
human by myself?
a whole human. Like ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing. You know what I mean? Um, so that was the vision for Beards and Barrettes is like to have like just to have conversations with fathers. You can glean from it what you will. Even there's like things like okay, this is how you change a diaper. There's like from the basics to even like those things that are just a little bit more involved, things that are just
Mm-hmm.
more require more of you than just like, okay, let me learn how to put this diaper on, to, okay, let me learn how to have a conversation with my daughter about, racism, or, have a conversation with my daughter about sex or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
that was the vision, is just to kind of like normalize like fatherhood, like everything that you're feeling, the uncertainty, the fear, all the stuff that you're feeling is normal. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
here's a father that will talk about his experience. Here's another father with a completely different, background, who kind of like, had the same type of experience. So that was the vision for it, is just to kind of like normalize it and just normalize fatherhood, like raising daughters, doing your daughter's hair, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. Just kind of like make it like real regular. Like this is the
Right.
place where you can come, and find out information, um, and glean from it what you will.
So, so are you, as an entrepreneur and running this, are you also a stay-at-home dad, or and how does
Um,
that look like day
I,
to day if you are?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily classify myself as a stay-at-home dad. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with things kind of like being the way that it is right now, um, I am staying home a lot more. um, so the process, the filmmaking, video production process, I always say it's like there's like three parts to it. There's like the creative part, like the pre-production, right? You figuring out stuff. Um, the actual shoot, it's probably like is like the second part, and then there's the post-production. So
Mm-hmm.
based on, like the three parts, there's the only part that I actually actively have to kind of like be out of the house is the actual like, okay, today's the shoot day. I got to shoot 2-3 days or whatever this week, or one day this week, 2 days next week, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of the other two parts, I typically can do those remotely. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't
Okay.
necessarily like maybe like corresponding with the client or whatever. So fortunately, I don't necessarily like once I have the footage and I have to do like the editing, like basically put it together. I can do that most of the time at my leisure. So depending on what's happening in the day,
Mm-hmm.
I get to spend time with my daughter, and I might get to spend some time with my wife, and then I might be able to do like editing at night when everybody goes to sleep or something like that.
Right. Right. Right.
Or again, kind of like the idea of even like creating like the content or whatever, coming up with ideas. I can do that while we're out playing at the playground or something like that.
Right.
Something
Right.
will,
Right.
will, will hit me in that moment, and I can jot it down, send it to the client or something like that. So,
Okay.
I have a lot of flexibility in my profession, luckily.
Good. So, a lot of people may not know that you was previously married.
hmm
So how did you enter into your first marriage, and why did it end?
So my first marriage, so I was with the woman for a few years. Um, I think I entered into it. I don't think a lot of men kind of like, I'm bad at that. I need to say more I statements rather than generalizing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
during that particular season, I had a lot of friends who were getting married, right? And I felt kind of like the biological clock type of thing. Like I'm like, all right, I'm not getting any younger. I have to, I've been with this woman for such a long time. We have
Mm-hmm.
issues, but I felt like the marriage is what would kind of like stabilize the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is everything that I was thinking in my head. Like, oh, okay, we're all over the place, whatever, whatever, whatever. I'm going to propose to her. And once we get married, that's going to be the support that we need to keep this relationship stable.
And
That's what I
how old were
envision.
you?
Um, I was maybe 27,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
28, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so still kind of young. It was again, it was bad judgment on my part. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
the way that I proposed, because even when I proposed to her, we weren't actually together at the time.
Oh.
So I think we were like on a break type of thing, which was weird. It was like, you know how you do that thing in
Try to
your
rescue
relationship
it.
with somebody. Yeah, you try to rescue it, you're on again, you're off again, you're on again. Oh, okay, we straight, we figured it out, then you're off again. So it was like during the off period that I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to propose to her, and then this is going to fix everything. You know what I mean? So I went into the marriage again for all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I said, there was like a peer, like a I wouldn't say peer pressure, but uh, a lot of the brothers who I was around at the time. You know, obviously I profess Christ and Christians, and you know, a lot of my brothers are Christian as well too. So they were getting married. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's time for me to get married now, type of thing, which is the
Mhm.
complete wrong reason. So I
Right.
wouldn't.
Right. Right.
I'm saying peer pressure, but they didn't like pressure me per
You
se. But it
felt
was just like
pressure.
I felt pressure. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
That it was time to that it was getting close to it was getting that it was getting to the time where I need to be married to her. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it was
And,
like I said, it was for all the wrong reasons.
and
It
so,
was for
how did
all the
it
wrong
end?
reasons. So interesting thing was we had been together I think maybe like 4 or 5 years. Excuse me. We had been together for like 4 or 5 years. And she just told me like one day, I think we was like 6 or 7 months into the marriage, and she had told me, she was like, yeah, I don't want to be married no more. And I was like confused. I was like, but we married already. Like, what you mean you don't want to be married no more? Um, and you know, I think we wind up staying together. No, it was earlier than that actually, because we were able to stretch it to like 6 or 7 months. Because I
Wow.
think maybe like 2 or 3 months into it, she was like, "Yeah, I don't want to be married," and I was like, "But we married already." And then we started like marriage counseling and stuff like that. Because I was like, "Yo, this kind of crazy that right from the jump we need like marriage counseling," you know. We hadn't even finished the honeymoon period yet. You know what I mean? And
Right.
we already
Right.
need. But I was like, all right, cool. This is this is my fate. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna work it. So we went to marriage counseling for maybe like 2 months or something like that, 3 months. And then she was like, I was like, so, like I remember us having a conversation, and I was like, so how you feeling now? You feeling better? You feeling, you know what I mean? And she
Mhm.
was like, I don't want to be married.
Wow.
And I was like,
And how did that hit you?
I mean, it was hurtful. That was like because first of all, I had never really been heartbroken. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Up until that point, like a lot of
Mhm.
times, you know, I was not to sound like a player or anything, but I was the one doing a lot of the heartbreaking. Like I was just like, ah, yeah, shorty, I'm done with you, type of thing. Or it might have been like something, or it might have been something mutual where it was just like, oh,
Right.
okay, we was doing what we was doing for the summer, and then like, all right, cool, I'm back to my regularly scheduled programming or whatever. That was like my first heartbreak, and for it to happen in the context of a marriage, it was like different for me. You know what I mean? It was like I
Mm.
was here with this person who said that she would love me. You know, she stood before God. She took this. You know, she took this commitment in front
Mhm.
of
This
God. She said to
oath, this
God. She said to
covenant.
all these
Yep.
witnesses. Yeah, the covenant. She took all this in front of people, and now she just like not.
Mhm.
So it was a lot for me. It was a lot for me. It took me a while to kind of like get over it. You know, because and at that time I didn't do like therapy or anything. Just kind of like a lot of devotion, a lot of prayer. You know, because
Mhm.
I just started to like not value myself. It was almost like I was spoiled for
Mm.
every other woman. Like that's what I felt. I was like, well, this woman who I've been with for such a long time, and she said that she loved me, ultimately wound up not like loving me or wanting to be with me.
Right.
I
Right.
guess I ain't good for no woman type of thing. You know what I mean? So
Right.
there was a lot of that I had to work through. Um, and, you know, just making sure that I was good and that I could be good for somebody else, you know,
Mm-hmm.
was essentially like the next thing or whatever.
Good segue. So, how did you meet Roberta?
So it was funny. So I'm gonna give a shout out to, I don't think, I was trying to see if somebody might have been on here, but it was his brother named One Sun Lion Ra. I don't know if you know him or not. But he's
No.
like it's a brother. He's one of the gentlemen from Mandrill's son. So him and I always had like a really good relationship for years upon years.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a part of my life where I was like an MC. I was like a rapper, had like a,
You
pretty decent
was or
career
you
or
still
whatever.
is a MC?
I mean, I'm not, I don't actively be like, okay,
Okay, but
I'm
you
trying
still
to drop
an
these,
MC.
I'm trying to drop these albums. Check me out. I don't promote or nothing. I just
You
do
still an MC.
what I do. Yeah, what I do
You're an
now is just
artist.
more of just leisure. Yeah, more
Right,
leisure, just fun. I say it's like my version of like Sudoku or like brain teaser type of activity to write a couple of
right,
bars. But
right.
there was a period in my life where I was actively,
The MC.
pursuing like a rap career, right? And
Mm-hmm.
my brother Larry, Society Park for Life, my brother Larry and I used to have a open mic. So what we would do is we would, find talented people in Philadelphia, ask them to come to the, perform at the open mic. Um, and they would like invite people in, and then Larry and I would also, Society Park would perform as well too. So the featured for this particular night was a brother named One Sun Lion Ra, and he was inviting different people down, obviously, to watch him perform.
Mm-hmm.
So Roberta and another sister was guest of his.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother just happened to come to this show as well too, right? So my mom, since she's retired, she started vendoring. So she came
Mm-hmm.
to the event to vendor. She came to the event to vendor,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm standing there with like when the show was over, I'm standing there hanging out with my mom. Roberta and this other sister were just kind of like, how like when the show was over, everybody just kind of congregates or whatever. So the
Mm-hmm.
sister who Roberta was with, her name is Lynette, knew my mom. So my mom and this sister were just talking, and me and Roberta were just kind of like, standing next to them. So I'm standing next to my mom, Roberta standing next to her friend, and
Mm-hmm.
they're just busting it up. Like her and my mom were just like good friends or whatever. So then me and Roberta do like this weird thing of like both of us were kind of like thinking the same thing. Like y'all not going to introduce us. Like y'all standing here for such a long time. It's just, oh, this is such and such, and you know what I mean. At least that's
Mm-hmm.
socially like, you know what I mean.
That's the
So
appropriate
then me
thing
and
to
Roberta
do.
would, yeah, it's the appropriate thing to do. If like I can understand if it was just like a high and by type of thing, but it was like
Mm-hmm.
no, y'all holding a full on conversation. So me and Roberta were like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like trying to be like awkward and make them feel like weird. Like, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Calvin." And she was like, "Hi, I'm Roberta," whatever. Since they didn't introduce us, right? Um, so that's the way that we met, and then we talked a little bit right then or whatever. And then I think we started following each other on MySpace. That's how far we go back. We started following each other on MySpace. Um, and then she reached out to me and was like, "Yeah, so what's happening in the city or whatever?"
Oh, that was her
And then,
throwing
And
yeah,
this
that
is
was you
where I
throwing
have to
G.
interject and watch the story
hold on.
because
You were throwing G. You was throwing game, Roberta.
this I was creeping listening to the story because this is where the story gets interesting and we have two
She
sides
tells
of
her
it.
version, I'll tell my version. So she reached out, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. She reached out to me, right? Because I think it was like close to New Year or something like that. So she was like, "Yo, bro, what's like popping around the city? I'm trying to find something to do or whatever," right? So I gave her like a couple of events or whatever, stuff that I knew about. And then I was like, but if y'all ain't doing nothing, maybe I can get like a couple of my friends, you get some of your friends, and then we just go hang out somewhere, like a bar or something,
On the
and just bust it
weekend.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? like just like on some we'll just make the party. Like if you have like 2 of your girlfriends or whatever, I'll get a couple of my homies and we just go somewhere.
Mind you, we're strangers, so like
Mhm.
I'm not getting up with you and your friends and my friends. Like I never did that before. Like the rap says, you get your friends, I be
Biggie,
friends, and
that's
then we
Yes,
can be
Biggie.
friends. No, I never did that. Like
Growing up, Roberta, you know where the lie come from.
it's only because he just quoted it like a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh, so that was your thing that make you feel confident and moving that way.
It wasn't. So this is my, and I know obviously you being single, you kind of know. It's just like, yo, all right, cool. I'm with my homies. She's with her friends, right?
Right.
If Shorty is corny, then we can just make up some reason to just part ways or whatever. But I'm with my homies already. That's
Right. Look at your reaction to
Nah,
that.
but you really do have to have a safeguard, because just if the brother's a cornball, you be like, oh, we got this other event we gotta go to.
That's what I'm saying. You just be like, oh, yo, we gotta go do this or whatever.
Back in my day, you shoot somebody, you shoot somebody a text message and be like, yo, if I text you, you call me, and that's my way out. That's how I never did the let's us friends get up.
You're more rude, Roberta. You be I gotta go. You'll be the one to be like,
and that's what I'm saying. That's because it was also, so mind you, it was New Year's Eve too. So it was like, yo,
or New Year's Eve.
It was New Year's Day.
No, New Year's Eve, because we actually went out on New Year's Day.
Yeah, so it was like, so to me, it was like, yo, if I'm gonna be with my homies already, so it's like, oh, okay, we can just go bust this other move if Shorty corny. If Shorty and her friends is corny, we'll just go bust like this other move real quick. Mm-hmm. Like that's the way that I was processing in my head. You know what I mean? Right. But she thought it was like super weird or whatever. Yeah, sit up a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Okay. But I was watching and listening, because typically he'll say, like, the whole MySpace thing, he'll introduce it as me. I was trying to kick game to him when I was just trying to scope out. You seem like you do events, what's hitting on the scene.
Right,
so I'm pleased to know that he told my side of the story. Thank you very much, husband.
So what quality stood out for you about Roberta?
So...
Let me check on her.
So what's crazy? I think sometimes people will give like the superficial, like, oh, she had a beautiful spirit and or not superficial. I'm sorry. People will give like some amazing quality, right, for especially if they're married to them, like her spirit, her aura, And I tell people the truth. Like, so my wife Roberta has brown eyes. So that was one of the things that I noticed. Her complexion, and then she's busty. You know what I mean? Real simple. So I saw her and I was just like, oh, Shorty kind of like, and then on MySpace, I was going through her pictures and I was just like,
so you're a breast man.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like real basic. I saw her. She had like I said, she was busty. She was dark, like chocolate. And then she had the brown eyes is really what did it for me. Cause I was just like, yo, she got light brown eyes. What? And I instantly started like in my head, I was like, yo, Shorty, all right. You know what I mean? And then once we started to kind of like date more often, and then I started to see like the layers to her, like, oh wow, yo, Shorty like conscious, Shorty, you know what I mean? Well, not even Shorty. At that time, she stopped being Shorty. Like, yo, sister's like dope. You know what I mean? She's a lover. She's a lover of Christ. You know what I mean? She's a lover of like community, of black people. You know what I mean? Just basic stuff. She's a lover of children. Like that's what she does professionally. But off of first gander, it was like I said, busty, dark skin Joe.
He loved you for your breath. That's basically.
I know.
She know it. I don't think the funk.
It was my boobs and my eyes.
I don't think the funk.
And that's why I love y'all. That's why I love y'all.
And I think that's the thing. If I think sometimes like they'll try to give like the PG version of like, I mean, we've happily been married like 7 years. Not like we've been happily married for 7 years now. For that.
Say that again. You said what?
Happily. We've been happily married for 7 years, and that's we don't sugarcoat anything.
Right.
Like when I saw you, you know what I mean? Obviously there was certain things that just kind of, inherently kind of like go off in my mind, like, oh, da 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 da. But then when
Mhm.
I got to see you and know you, then all the extra stuff started coming. Like, oh, okay, I might be able to marry her. Oh, okay,
Mhm.
she might be able to be the mother to my children, type of. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? All
Mhm.
that stuff started coming. All that stuff didn't come right from Jump Street. You know what I mean?
Right.
That stuff started to come as I started to know who she was and. You know what I mean? Like I said, she's a lover of Christ. She's a lover of, black people. She's a lover of children. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I'm like I said early in this joint, in the beginning part of this, like it was the best decision I feel like I made. You know what I mean?
Mm. And did y'all do premarital counseling or any form of counseling before you entered marriage, or?
Yeah.
Mhm. And how
So
did that?
I so
Go ahead.
yeah.
We did pre-engagement counseling. We did premarital counseling.
hmm
I never
So we
heard of
fellowship.
pre-engagement and
Yeah. So we
premarital
we
counseling.
fellowship at Enon. Shout out to Enon. Woo, Pastor Wilder and all that. And one of the things in order to be married, they basically make, they make you do certain things.
Mhm.
And I think was it the pre-engagement or was
No,
this
it
the
was the
premarital?
premarital counseling, but we did pre-engagement counseling because as you get closer to making that decision of I want to marry this person, you have some things because
Mm-hmm.
it's fear and
Mhm.
your past that kind of pops up and try to be barriers. So our pre-engagement was like having a discussion about that, like
Mm-hmm.
me having a discussion with our mentor slash minister that we was really close to. Rest in peace, he's gone now.
Mm-hmm.
And then like stuff that I had issues that I had with him. Now I was like, yo, I'm ready. I don't know what's wrong with him. These are his issues. These are
Mm-hmm.
my issues. And then he was like, and then he would have, I don't know what their conversation was like, but then he had a conversation with him as well
Mhm.
too. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
Mhm.
what the pre-engagement
Yeah,
was
because you know
about.
what it is, because I feel like sometimes what happens, and you could probably speak more to this than I, but I feel like sometimes there's like um, I proposed to her, right? And it's
Mhm.
almost like she feels almost like obligated to say yeah, right?
Right.
Because it's almost, again, like the pressure of like, oh, we have been together for a long time. Oh, he was courageous enough to propose to me. So you feel almost, like I said, you almost feel
Right.
obligated to
Right.
say
You
yeah.
you
You know what I mean?
basically didn't want to go through what you went the first time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that was probably like, and stuff came out because that was another thing that happened is I didn't want while we were courting.
So,
Yo, that's
and
funny.
as we're talking about marriage and engagement,
Somebody's asking. It's
a
actually a
plane that like,
proposal.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
proposal.
That's
Yeah,
Oh,
funny.
that was cool.
Um,
take that as an
but
omen. Take that as a sign.
yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
But one of the things that happened to me was I didn't know of certain issues that I had until I got to a certain point in our courtship that I
Exactly.
was like, oh wow. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
while we were fun dating, right? While we were just,
Mhm.
kind of like out just enjoying each other, everything was like cool. But then when we started to be like serious, it was like issues that I had like started to pop up because it was like, oh wait, last time I was here, this is how it ended. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So maybe like 7 months of us just dating, just having fun, like, oh, yo, let's go here, let's go get drinks, let's go do this, let's go, you know what I mean? All that was just fun. But then when it was like, oh, well, we talking about possibly like being together with each other for like some
A
serious,
lifetime.
for a lifetime, it's like, wait, last time I was here for this thing came up and I thought it was going to be this, but it didn't turn out to be that. So maybe
Mhm.
this is going to be the same way. You know what I mean? It's like the
Right.
issues come up when you get to like a certain point in like a
Right.
relationship, which is
Right.
like
Right.
weird. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, how have you been? How have you been able to keep it spicy during quarantine?
um. So I mean, I'll take the answer and then she can chime in if she feels the need. So I remember there's this song by
Hmm.
by
Kendrick.
Kendrick, yeah. and they
Ken-
say,
Kendrick?
yeah, far away from here, far away from here, far away from here. Yeah, you ain't know I had the vocals, did you? Yeah, brother can hold it. So the first line that he says is, tired of this and not getting no. So let's the baby sleep, and even then it feels like we're trying to creep. That's his line,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember.
Mhm.
I remember when he said it, because like when he said it, like they OGs in the game. When he said it, I wasn't married, didn't have any children. But now I'm like, yo, that brother was speaking facts on that
Right,
song.
right, right.
It really is like it's almost like after the children are taken care of, then it's us time type of thing. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of like are maintaining it is like we before we go to bed or whatever, you know what I mean? We need some us time type of thing. Um, and it's not easy. It's something that we focus on. Um, got what we gonna do because it's difficult.
It's scheduled. Like
Yeah, it's like
tonight. It's going to happen tonight, right? Or it's like, oh yeah, remember we talked about.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you create the. Sorry, while we get this all set up. It's
That's
like you
okay.
gotta create. It's not as spontaneous. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
it's like scheduled, but I mean when we in that space, obviously everything like stuff
All right.
takes
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
and
Oh,
we
yeah.
straight.
Yeah. 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 You don't have to go into detail.
And we straight.
All right. And so, but no, I've heard this before. Is this true that it's the one of the questions could be how often would you want it? Like for each partner, and if that's not compatible, how do y'all work that out? Like meaning not so
I
much
mean,
the interaction, but the frequency.
So compatibility in that area isn't an issue, but I know what you're talking about. Like
Okay.
we know couples that's like, I want to do it every day, and the other one's like, oh, I'm tired. But us, we're like, we can go days and maybe a week, or we can both be like, I want to, but I'm really tired. He's like, oh, I'm tired too. Like, all right, well, we'll try it again on a day that we got a little bit more energy.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. So, what advice would you give to your single friends, male and female out there, like myself? I mean, I get all the good advice when I come over. So,
Go ahead.
but what would y'all share?
I'll say for men, she say for women.
For women, and I always say, enjoy your freedom of coming and going right now. So that's one. But as far as like advice, you have to really know what you can have patience with. And sometimes you don't discover that until you're in a relationship. Because like when we were dating with like him being a divorcee, that wasn't something that was on a checkoff box for me. So that was something that within the relationship I had to assess and decide if I wanted to deal with, while also considering the baggage that comes with it. And then knowing him as well too. So like within that short amount of time, maybe it was like a couple of months going on a year. It probably wasn't going on a year, but it was like within the months that I realized, like once it was disclosed, I was able to see like, yo, he's worth it to have patience for. Like, it was beyond me. It was for the betterment of himself. We in Christ, we always thinking about others before we thinking about ourselves.
Right.
And when it came to the relationship with him, I wanted to make sure that, if we didn't work out, if I was the rebound chick, I was okay with that. As long because he was such a great dude, I wanted to make sure like he would walk away or out of this relationship. His confidence was built, his ability and willing to love was established and stayed, because he already had that. And I was, surprised that he was willing to go there given his hurt.
Just
So,
a heads up.
knowing
We got
yourself,
40 seconds left. 38.
all right,
So just
knowing himself, knowing myself, And what I was willing to take and what I was willing not to take is something that you should know as a single person for yourself. Because I know we always had those talks. I'm like, well, think about it. Is there something you can deal with? Don't go into a relationship thinking like, I can deal with this for now, but it's going to have to change. Because, honey, those things aren't going to change. Like, yeah, he don't have those hurts, but that stuff peak up every now and then. He be like, oh, I feel like, bruh, that's not the issue. That's still some of that residue kind of still like there. So,
4, 3.
yes.
You can get him to say